Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And today we're looking at Exide Industries.
Exide Industries?
You know those batteries that are in pretty much everything?
Yeah,
They're in our cars, and they might even be in our homes powering our lights.
that's right.
So we've got their latest quarterly report. We've got all the filings that they made with the Bombay Stock Exchange and Calcutta Stock Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And we've even got their unaudited financial reports.
Yeah,
So we are going to decode all this and figure out what it means.
absolutely. There's a lot to uncover here. It's not just about the numbers.
Right.
We're talking about a company that's like really deeply embedded in India's automotive and industrial landscape, and now they're making some serious moves into the future of energy.
Yeah. So let's start with that big picture overall. How they do this quarter.
Well, they reported 9% growth in profit before tax for the first half of the financial year.
Okay.
Pretty good,
Not bad.
especially when you consider the state of the economy in general.
Yeah. That's really good.
Their revenue from operations also increased 4% this quarter and 5% overall for the first half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
What's really impressive is their balance sheet. Zero debt and high net worth.
Wow.
That's like the gold standard, especially in a capital-intensive industry like battery manufacturing.
What does that mean for them? What does that allow them to do?
Well, it gives them so much flexibility. You know, they can invest in new technologies, they can expand into new markets, they can really weather any storm that comes their way.
Right.
It's like having a financial safety net that allows them to be bold and take risks.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh.
So let's zoom in a little bit. Let's talk about their market performance. How did their different segments do this quarter?
Well, the two-wheeler and four-wheeler replacement markets were the real stars this quarter.
Uh-huh.
They fueled double-digit revenue growth.
Wow.
No surprise there, though, right?
Hi.
India's vehicle ownership, particularly in the two-wheeler segment, is exploding. And as those vehicles age, the demand for replacement batteries goes up right along with it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's a pretty safe bet for Exide.
Right. And then we've got the industrial UPS and solar segments, which also saw really strong demand,
Yes.
showing that they're not just relying on the auto industry.
Right.
But then there's that dip in the home UPS sector, which they attributed to the early monsoon season.
It makes you wonder if people weren't as focused on power backups when they were dealing with those intense downpours.
Yeah, it does. And it makes me think about, is this just a temporary thing, or are people starting to look at alternatives like, rooftop solar?
That's a great question.
Could have some big implications for them.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, what about the auto OEMs?
Oh, yeah. Excess channel inventory slowed down demand in that sector.
So too many batteries just sitting around.
Exactly. Too many batteries sitting in warehouses waiting to be sold.
Is that a warning sign?
It could be. It could be a sign that auto sales are cooling off, which would definitely impact Exide's business. It'll be interesting to see how they handle this.
Yeah. So while all of that is going on in the domestic market, they're also making moves internationally.
Yeah. They're expanding into new regions, strengthening their presence in existing ones.
Yeah.
They're really going global.
What's their strategy there?
Well, it seems like they're trying to diversify their risk,
Uh-huh.
reduce their dependence on any single market,
That's smart.
because the domestic market can be quite volatile. Having a global footprint gives them more stability.
Makes sense. And they're not just exporting the same products. They're actually customizing their offerings to meet specific regional needs.
They are. They're also expanding their product portfolio and strengthening their distribution network.
So they're really going all in on this.
It sounds like they're thinking long-term and putting in the effort.
So that's international expansion. Now let's talk about their lithium-ion battery venture.
Okay.
They just poured 250 crore rupees into their fully owned subsidiary Exide Energy Solutions Limited
That's right. EESL.
during this quarter. And they put another 100 crore rupees in just last month.
Wow.
When you add that to their previous investments, their total investment in ESL comes to a whopping 852.24 crore rupees.
That is a serious commitment.
Yeah, it's a huge bet on the future.
They're not just dipping their toes in the water here.
Yeah.
They're diving headfirst into the lithium-ion revolution.
And it is a bold move.
Oh.
I mean, this market is still relatively young, especially in India.
Yeah. But it shows they're not afraid to embrace new technologies,
Right.
position themselves for the future.
And it's not just about electric vehicles, right?
No, lithium-ion batteries are becoming essential for so many things: renewable energy storage, grid stabilization.
So many things.
Exide is clearly looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah. And they're not just throwing money at it. So they're
Noted.
making real progress.
Absolutely. The construction of their new lithium-ion cell manufacturing plant is moving right along.
Okay.
And it's not just about the building itself.
Right.
They're actively onboarding suppliers, both domestic and international, and they're working to secure those big customers.
So they're building the entire ecosystem
It's a smart strategy.
from start to finish.
By controlling the whole value chain, they can ensure quality manage costs and respond quickly to market demands.
Yeah, that's really smart.
It is.
So they're really building up this whole new part of their business.
Yeah.
But what about their core business? Those lead-acid batteries. Are
Right.
they planning to phase those out entirely?
It doesn't seem like it. They're not taking an either-or approach here. It's more like both and.
Okay.
Keeping one foot in the present with lead acid while taking that leap towards the future with lithium ion.
So hedging their bets.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially since nobody really knows how quickly electric vehicles will take over.
Right. Even as EVs become more popular, lead acid batteries will still be needed for things like backup power industrial applications,
Yeah.
even some hybrid vehicles.
So it's smart for them to keep doing what they're good at while also building up that lithium-ion expertise. Now let's look at their financials. How are they doing with costs and all that?
Okay.
Their cost of materials actually went down year over year in the first half of the fiscal year,
That's impressive.
especially with all the inflation we've been seeing.
It really is. It shows how efficient their procurement processes are. They're clearly leveraging their size and their relationships with suppliers to get the best deals.
They have to be on top of things with how much commodity prices have been fluctuating.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
they've got this internal radar constantly scanning the market for the best opportunities.
Now, what about their investments in subsidiaries? What are they doing there?
Well, if we think about the bigger picture, it seems like they're using these investments to expand into new markets, acquire new technologies, or even strengthen their existing operations. It's
Mm.
like they're building this network of interconnected businesses all working together to make Exide even more successful.
And their press release mentioned that they've been trying to leverage the synergies between their different business verticals.
Yes, so things like sharing resources, streamlining processes, maybe even cross-selling products between the different subsidiaries.
It's all about making those different parts work together more smoothly.
Exactly. And for a complex business like Exide's, those synergies can make a big difference to their bottom line.
Now, their earnings per share came in at 3.50 rupees for the quarter, compared to 3.37 in the same quarter last year.
Okay.
It's not a huge jump, but still positive.
Ew, definitely. And for those who might not know, earnings per share, or EPS, is basically the portion of a company's profit that's allocated to each outstanding share of common stock.
Okay.
It's a key indicator that investors use to gauge a company's profitability.
So it's a good sign that theirs is going up.
Yes, their annualized EPS for the first half of the year is 6.79 rupees.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to wait and see how that compares to analyst expectations, but it's definitely a number that investors will be watching.
Of course, these results are just a snapshot in time.
That's right. They give us a glimpse into their current performance, but the real test is how they sustain this over the long term.
Yeah, it's their strategic initiatives and their ability to adapt that will determine their long-term success.
And we can't forget about all the external factors,
Right.
like commodity prices, economic conditions, government
The
policies.
little things that nobody can predict.
Exactly. But from what we're seeing, it looks like Exide is doing a good job navigating those challenges.
Yeah, I think so. Now I want to talk more about their lithium-ion battery project.
Okay.
Their press release had some pictures of the construction site, and it looks really impressive.
They're going all in on this.
It looks like it.
And they've even created a whole new subsidiary, Exide Energy Solutions Limited, to run it.
That shows how committed they are.
Definitely. It allows them to really focus on this area, which is important in a fast-paced market like lithium-ion batteries.
That's it. They already have that first plan in Prantij, Gujarat.
Right. That one's producing modules and packs.
This new plant will focus on cell manufacturing.
So they're taking a phased approach, starting with assembly and then moving upstream to cell production. It is. It lets them learn as they go.
Right, gives them a head start.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about their international expansion. It seems like they're seeing a lot of demand in those export markets.
They are. They're entering new regions and strengthening their presence in existing ones.
It looks like they're being very strategic about it.
Yeah. They're not just trying to sell everywhere. They're focusing on markets where they see real opportunities for growth.
And they're customizing their offerings to meet the needs of each region.
Right. It's important to understand the local culture, the regulations, the competition.
It sounds like they're doing their homework.
Yeah. And they're expanding their product portfolio and their distribution network as well.
So they're really trying to establish themselves in those markets.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about their balance sheet. They have zero debt.
It's amazing.
It is. It's especially impressive in an industry like this.
It gives them so much flexibility.
Right. They're not burdened by interest payments or debt covenants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can invest freely in growth opportunities.
And they need that freedom with those big bets they're making, like the lithium-ion venture.
Absolutely.
And they also have a high net worth.
Which means they're in a really strong financial position overall.
Yeah, it's a sign that they're managing their money well.
And that they're profitable.
Yeah, they're not just making money, they're reinvesting it back into the business.
Exactly, which allows them to grow sustainably.
Right. They're not relying on outside financing.
It gives them more control.
And it makes them more resilient.
Exactly. They can handle economic ups and downs better than companies with a lot of debt.
So their financial health is a real asset.
It is. It's a strong foundation for growth and innovation.
But let's not forget about the people involved.
Right. The management team.
Yeah. They seem to be doing a good job.
They're making strategic decisions, investing wisely, navigating a complex market.
And they're committed to sustainability.
Yes, which is
Yeah.
becoming more and more important these days.
Yeah. Consumers and investors are demanding it.
It's not just the right thing to do, it's also good for business.
Right? It can save money, improve efficiency, enhance their brand.
It's a win-win.
Now let's talk about some of the challenges they're facing.
Okay.
Competition is always a factor.
Right. And it's likely to get even tougher as the electric vehicle market grows.
Yeah. We'll probably see some big global players entering market.
Exide will need to stay ahead of the game to maintain their market share.
What do they need to do?
Well, they need to keep innovating and developing new technologies.
Okay.
They need to be cost efficient, and they need to differentiate themselves from the competition.
And that means more than just price, right?
Right. Things like quality, reliability, customer service are important too.
It's all about building brand loyalty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Customers need a reason to choose Exide.
Now, another challenge they face is the regulatory environment.
Government policies can have a big impact on their business.
Yeah. Incentives for electric vehicles could be good for their lithium-ion battery business.
But changes in environmental regulations or import duties could hurt them.
So they need to be adaptable.
Right. Always aware of what's happening and ready to adjust their strategies.
Another challenge is finding skilled workers.
Yeah. That's a problem for a lot of companies in India.
The demand is higher than the supply.
So Exide will need to invest in training programs.
And make sure they're creating a good work environment.
To attract and retain talent.
Yeah. Now, the last challenge I want to mention is managing growth.
Okay.
It sounds like a good problem to have.
It is, but it can be tricky.
What do you mean?
Well, if they don't manage their growth effectively, they could run into problems.
Like what?
Bottlenecks, inefficiencies, quality issues.
So they need to make sure their systems and processes can keep up.
Absolutely. They need to scale up their manufacturing, their supply chain, their distribution.
And they can't lose sight of quality and customer service.
A lot to juggle.
It is. But I think they can handle it.
Me too.
So despite those challenges, Exide seems to be in a good place.
Yeah. They're financially healthy, they're making smart investments, and they're adapting to the changing market.
Definitely a company to watch.
Agreed.
Now, before we move on, I want to go back to that early monsoon season and its impact on the home UPS segment.
Okay.
It might seem like a small thing, but it could be a sign of a bigger trend.
That's what's so interesting about these deep dives. Sometimes those small details can reveal a lot about what's happening in the market.
Right. So we think about the energy landscape in India.
Uh-huh.
You've got growing power, demand grid reliability issues, and this increasing awareness of climate change.
And that might be changing how people think about energy.
Yeah. Maybe they're looking for more reliable solutions like rooftop solar.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
It aligns with the government's push for renewable energy.
And with the growing interest in sustainable living.
So the question is, how is Exide responding to all of this?
Yeah. Are they just a battery supplier, or are they trying to become a more complete energy solutions provider?
That's a great question for investors to consider.
Yeah. If they can integrate their battery technology with other energy solutions, they could have even more growth potential.
They could become a one-stop shop for all your energy needs.
Now let's talk about their commitment to sustainability.
Okay.
It's not just talk. They're actually doing things to reduce their environmental impact.
Their press release highlighted their efforts in responsible sourcing, waste reduction, energy efficiency.
And they're working with their suppliers and partners to promote sustainability throughout their value chain.
It's important to have that kind of collaboration.
Yeah, it's not enough to just focus on your own company.
So it's clear that they see sustainability as both an ethical responsibility and a smart business strategy.
It's a win-win-win.
Absolutely.
Now, there was one more thing in the report I wanted to get to, and that's the leadership change.
Hmm.
They appointed a new independent director, Mr. Jadit Singh Brar.
Yeah. What's interesting about him is his background. He's got a lot of experience in performance transformation, strategy restructuring, especially in the automotive building materials and energy
Oh,
industries.
wow.
Seems like a perfect fit for Exide.
Yeah, especially with that big move into lithium ion.
Exactly. His expertise could be really valuable for them.
It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Of course, the appointment still needs shareholder approval, so we'll have to see what happens there.
Right. So overall, it looks like Exide is doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'd say so.
They're handling the market pretty well, focusing on those growth areas and making some smart moves for the future, especially with that lithium ion technology.
It seems like they're not just adapting to change, they're trying to lead the way.
Yeah, that makes me think, given their performance and this push into lithium ion, how much of an impact do you think they could have on the electric vehicle market in India
Mm.
and maybe even globally? Could they become a major player?
That's a great question. And it's not just about supplying batteries, right? It's about the whole ecosystem, charging infrastructure partnerships with automakers.
Yeah, they could be a big part of making electric vehicles more mainstream.
Definitely. Exide's at a really interesting point right now. Their decisions could have a big impact on the industry.
Well, we've covered a lot today. It's amazing how something as simple as a battery can be so important.
It is. And it's a reminder that even the most basic things can be connected to so many different parts of our lives and the economy.
Yeah. So that's it for this deep dive into Exide Industries. As always, we encourage you to keep learning and exploring.
Again, stay curious.
We'll see you next time.